We've had an up and down relationship with Heroes of the Storm here at GameTrailers. While we've always appreciated how the game is attempting to do something different as a MOBA, our chief concern has been that it's too simplified. Yet after spending significantly more time in the Nexus, we've come to not only appreciate Heroes of the Storm in different ways, but to love it so much that we're playing it daily. When compared to other popular MOBAs, the game seems strange and even off-putting, but it becomes apparent that it isn't running the same race. Taken on its own terms, Heroes of the Storm is a fast-paced, complex, and rewarding game that doesn't feel like anything else out there. Experience is shared in Heroes of the Storm. Players don't earn individual levels, instead, everyone's actions contribute to a team pool. As the team level increases, players gain new talents which modify their abilities and attributes. Since team levels often remain fairly close during matches, victory rarely feels out of reach. You're always just one team fight or objective away from turning the tables. It's not that dramatic comebacks aren't possible in other games, they just seem to happen less frequently. Blizzard has even said that the reason they're hesitant to implement a surrender feature is that they feel like the losing team almost always has a fighting chance. The back and forth nature of matches also makes Heroes of the Storm exciting to watch. Last weekend, we attended the final day of the Heroes of the Dorm event, where 4 college teams competed for tuition money. Several times, one side was completely dominating, only to lose in the final moments. The most popular MOBAs have a single competitive map. Heroes of the Storm has 7. Yet the number isn't what's important, but rather how each battleground completely changes the pace of a match. On Dragonshire, each team tries to capture 2 shrines on opposite ends of the map. If successful, they're rewarded with the towering dragon warrior that can easily smash through enemy defenses. The Cursed Hollow battleground periodically spawns tribute at random locations. The first team to gather 3 pieces of tribute bestows a curse on the opposing side, reducing their minions to 1 health and preventing their towers from firing. The objectives are so game-changing that they can't be ignored. Different battlegrounds also determine the effectiveness of heroes. Gazlowe, for instance, is considered a pretty poor character in most circumstances, but on Sky Temple, where controlling space is so important, his value comes to light, since that's exactly what he excels at.
No need to be pushing.
Many matches in Dota 2 or League of Legends last around 45 minutes, and some even stretch past the hour mark. The average length of a game in Heroes of the Storm is around 20 minutes. In a way, Heroes of the Storm feels like it's trimming the fat off the traditional MOBA. The usual laning phase doesn't last nearly as long, and big team fights happen quickly and frequently. Shorter matches make play more digestible as a whole. It's nice knowing that if you only have an hour free, you can likely fit in 2 or 3 games instead of just 1. MOBAs are not the easiest games to pick up. There's usually an abundance of things to learn. Specific terminology, tons of items, and more can all feel like huge barriers. Heroes of the Storm strips out quite a bit of that. What this means is that it's easier to learn, yet there's arguably just as much complexity. There's a lot to juggle in terms of positioning. It's important to defend your lanes, defeat mercenary camps, and go after map-specific objectives. While it may sound overwhelming, it's all very easy to understand. Everything is clearly labeled on each map, and the objectives are explained before the match begins. If you're losing, it almost never feels like it's because you don't know what to do, but only that your team isn't very good at doing it. It's an admittedly unfair comparison, but part of what makes Heroes of the Storm so enjoyable is that it uses characters we're already attached to. Seeing Arthas duke it out with Jim Raynor, or Diablo fight Zeratul is awesome, just like Ryu fighting Wolverine is awesome. It's fun to break the rules in ways that wouldn't be possible in each character's respective universe. Yet the novelty would eventually wear off if Blizzard didn't go the extra mile. How the characters interact with one another is the best part of it all. When Illidan and Malfurion are on the same team, Illidan tells his brother to get over himself. When Arthas is healed, he coldly tells his teammate that their skills are sufficient. It's also impressive how Blizzard creatively translates mechanics from other games into Heroes of the Storm. Sergeant Hammer's siege tank can go into siege mode, just like in StarCraft, and it does more damage to enemy structures. Diablo's passive trait is the Black Soulstone, which allows him to resurrect far more quickly than the average character. It's an exceptionally clever way of incorporating one of the most important items of Diablo lore into the game. With Heroes of the Storm officially launching on June 2nd, we feel incredibly optimistic about its future. We initially dismissed its differences as a dumbing down of the genre, but have since discovered that those differences are exactly what make it appealing. At a time when so many MOBAs feel distressingly similar, Heroes of the Storm is exciting in brand new ways. Hopefully others feel the same, and the game can have a healthy competitive community for the foreseeable future.
It's over now. Leave my domain.